First of all, what a great way to kind of talk about the concept of energy and renewable energy. And I agree with you 100%. I mean, we're already at a point where, worrying about whether something's renewable is kind of past, because yes, of course, if you're in like yesterday's world, you're pulling stuff from the ground and there's only so much. So in that sense, it's limited, and therefore your renewable concerns may be there. But when you're talking about wind, sun, geothermal, right? The Earth's never going to stop having pressure trying to push through the crust. These are all things that, they've already been being harnessed, and the technology is just powering like crazy. And what's interesting, Anitha, is if you look inside of our group, right, we have people pioneering all sorts of stuff in every field. But a guy named Rob Creighton, North Carolina, is, working with the military, where they're flying like these giant kites to catch the wind in remote places with no infrastructure to generate the wind, right? We've got a guy named Lawrence Kalinsky in LA who is working on a flying fortress, because the truth is, between solar and thermals, if you can have a giant ship up there, all of a sudden you're starting to enable people to be in the sky more and more. And if you think about wave technology, right, using the waves or the power of currents, now you're talking about using 70% of the Earth's surface to live on, right? Which is currently not livable. And there's lots of nutrients and things that we haven't even touched yet when you're talking about overcrowding. I mean, it's really remarkable. Even, Fatima, who you guys all know, has these military level, 16-foot wingspan surveillance drones. And she's using, solar and some other things in order to have perpetual flight. So even in this group, everybody is like on the cutting edge of all this stuff. And I think you're right. I think that's all going to continue. And I think that, the funny thing is, you talk about like gravity. But by the way, before I even talk about gravity and getting out into space, the other thing, which is also interesting, is just this week on Wednesday, we had the final masterclass from a guy named Nate Zalesnik, who is, has studied with the Indonesians for many, many years to learn how to harness energy and itself generate energy. And the last one, he was actually hooking up a biometric application of hardware to his body. And he could show how, through his own breath work and through his own, manipulation of biology, he was able to increase the joules that were in his body probably like 25%. Right. And then, of course, their magic is starting to apply that in an external function. So it's really remarkable how energy is like you said, it's fully in abundance. Right. But what is interesting, as you kind of said this, is two last comments I just want to react to what you're saying is, number one is the infrastructure has to be there. If my toaster can't plug into some form of this energy, then it's not there to carry life forward. Right. Because like you said, we're all used to this. So it's like, sometimes it's not the fact that there's not energy. Energy is everywhere. It's whether we can harness it in a way that we feel comfortable. And the other thing I wanted to say is that there's no greater lesson on the limitation and freedom of energy